Hey everybody, welcome to GMG Review. Today we're taking a look at Heroscape Age of Annihilation, the battle for the Wellspring 2-player battle box. As I continue my, today, starter set investigation into affordable, accessible, entry-level wargames. If you watched today's review of Steel Rift, the new quick build box sets, this is in the same vein and is a super accessible 2-player battle box that contains enough for two people to enter into and try out this game. It's available right now from Renegade Game Studios and Hasbro Pulse. And I believe this edition is on back order because it was so popular, and the unpainted version of the master set is still available in a limited quantity. So it's still up for pre-order, but the demand is pretty high. So what do you get in this box? You're gonna get 6 highly detailed, fully assembled pre-painted miniatures in this painted set. The unpainted set, they come unpainted. 31 hex tile terrain pieces, 2 Lauer jungle trees for some terrain, 6 combat dice, 20-sided die for initiative and abilities and stuff, 8 order markers, 15 wound markers, 3 powder markers, glyphs, army cards, rulebook, and a scenario guide. And the unpainted version of this retails for $45 US. This fully painted version is for $65 US and hits my first criteria for what I think makes a great starter set. You guys, if you haven't watched last week's Inside Tabletop, where I sat down with Chris from Woods Wargames and Hobbies and talked about starter products and introductory products, I thought I would make this week a whole lot about that and feature 2 that I think are really hitting the criteria I listed in that video, being that they are affordable enough that you could take a chance on them. They provide everything you need to play. They provide an interesting and repeatable gameplay loop, and that you don't really need anything outside the box. So let's see if this hits the criteria. So I think price point, first of all, for what you get in this box, which is pretty impressive, if I'm being honest, especially the terrain, you're going to get, like I said, the actual table surface that you play on. So you're gonna get all this hex terrain. You get tons of additional hex terrain as well. How do I wanna put this together to show you guys what I'm talking about? Oh, it goes like this, here we go. And these snap in. Tons of additional stuff to give yourself some 3D elements. So all of these pile on top to create your game surface. And there will be rules and layouts for different scenarios in the scenario packet for you guys to lay this stuff out. But there is plenty in here, including some exclusive, what were they called? They had a name, exclusive Wellspring water tiles. So you can put some water down and create a water surface as well in between. So I think the idea here is that they're lower so that they slot together in between the main pieces and provide like a water train feature for you to take that off. That'd be easier, Ash. I think you're making this harder for yourself. And do some water in here. And then you could also have like a little pond if you want, like to one side for setting up the table yourself. I am doing this with my stupid left hand right now, and that is never a good idea. And then surround it with the green terrain. And there's lots of these. There's also the blue ones. So I think it's like ice and water maybe. And then surround them with these to create little ponds for the terrain types in between the main pieces of terrain. You guys get the idea. I guess you could put these even up higher and then have them be surrounded like that. There's a real satisfying building stuff in Minecraft elements to making this. As soon as I opened this box set off camera, when I first opened this up, I kind of went, ooh, and I just started making stuff. If I give this to Cash, I'm never getting it back. Yeah, if my son gets his hands on this, I'm never going to see it again, which is probably exactly the way it should be. You know, I've lost myself in this. Let's put the trees down so you can see that now. So these lovely trees, which are available for right now separately, they're part of the first wave of this comeback for Heroscape. And they again just set on, so you get these lovely like 2D or 3D jungle terrain elements. And there's plenty more in here. There's also different terrain types. You can see I've gotten down to the rock ones now. So if you want to have your, oh, come on, Ash. You can figure this out. You're a grown man. There you go. And they do slot in just like the other terrain does to hold itself together. I just need to, again, not be doing this with my stupid left hand. And we can add additional terrain types. And that's why I was saving to put in here, because I totally did that on purpose. Right? And that's going to go in there now. Again, move this out of the way, Ash, so you can make that fit. And do you see what I'm talking about when I say, like, This is 45 bucks unpainted. 65 for an extra 20 bucks. You get this just out of the box, and you're making, like, imagine this was your first wargame thing and you're like 10 or 11 and you're just making Minecraft stuff now. making boards to play on, and your imagination's going crazy. There you go. There's just like an initial terrain setup. And then we get all our figures. So who do we get? I pulled out the sheet over here because we get our rule book, and then we also get our identification guide to the game content. So this is our rule book. This is a complete rule book. This is the complete Age of Annihilation rule book. It's the same one that comes in the big box. Has all the same stuff you saw me review before, examples and rounds and stuff like that, how to make your master game or your basic game. And then, yeah, 2 of these trees. Uwasha, the Master of Tides, who is an Aquila's Wellspring-born powers allowed her to summon fantastic magical beings to her side. So she's like a mage. And she has Onoshu the Welkanai and Kita the Spring Runner, who are 2 like little sort of like spirit animals who'll hang out with her. This cool, like, I don't know, what is it? A jackalope? Some kind of little jackalope that hangs out with her. And then an owl monster with a people face. I'm not sure what these are supposed to be, but that's one side. Then we got Bokburno, Maro, like any space creatures have varied culture, Somerville, and a cruel caste system, so some kind of like space pirate. And his 2 space pirate friends, who are Killian Vane III and Fia Bonnie the Void Siren. And these look like they are some kind of space pirate. And there we go. All them space pirates. And there's plenty of terrain unused here, right? So I've got lots of stuff to stack up higher to make all kinds of hills, lots more water, and I don't know if they're ice features. But like I said, tons of terrain in the box set. We get all of our tokens, our wound markers, our objective markers, our activation and order markers, and 6 dice for attack and defense, and then our stack cards. One side for basic game, one side for master game, as was pointed out. So basic game is this side. You flip to the red side, you get all their special additional rules and stuff, right? So big rules on one side, and then just like set up and play on the other side. I think that's really important that there's the 2 classifications of game, and I think that actually hits the gameplay loop part of when you open this up, you're gonna get a first place scenario, right? So scenario book, put together Vengala Gulch, and it's like a Lego set. It says, do level 1 like this, do level 2 like this, do level 3 like this, do level 4 like this, do level 5 like this. This is on page 2. Identification guide for all of the items in the box, and then here, set up your board. And then scenario 1, surprise arrival, the basic game. And then you play through these, and you've basically learned all the rules. So once you've played 1, 2, and 3, you play a master game on 4. And you've learned all the core mechanics. The rule book is laid out the same way, where the basic game guide, see, is in gold at the top here, and then we get to the master game guide. So you only need to read 8 pages to get playing right out of the box immediately. And that, if you don't read the fluff in the front and back, right? So like, it's right to and presented chronologically in the order that you would want to do it into play. So it hits my number 2 criteria, which is, I set it up on camera for you guys. I could be playing a game right now if I wanted to. Obviously, I just freestyled this to show you all the pieces, but there's nothing stopping me from having followed that guide to do the exact same thing and just be playing the Age of Annihilation game. So yeah, so this hits all those criteria for me. Does it have the ability to provide the full gameplay loop for the master game? Absolutely it does, because it's got 4 games for us to play in here and gives us the full rulebook for force construction and where to go from here in the after sort of like stages. And as an initial offering for the return of Heroscape, I think it's fantastic. It's everything you would want to have in a starter set. And from a retailer point of view, you're not afraid to sell somebody this box and think that they leave and can't do the thing you've just sold them. Everything's in here. It's a really good bridge component-wise between board games and tabletop war games. It has the option for a cheaper price point, being able to paint the miniatures yourselves if you so want to, and they are just fine detail-wise. There's some basic board game plastic, but they're on very familiar 25 mil bases. They are every inch a miniature, you know what I mean? Like, you would have no problem using your sort of like basic paint schemes that you would do painting on their miniature, dry brushing. Washes would work fine on these, the depth of detail is fine. And once you stripped off these paint jobs, I mean, you could just paint over these if you wanted as well and touch them up. And the paint jobs in the terrain, as ever, are fantastic. So yeah, there it is. The Heroscape Age of Annihilation Battle for the Wellspring box set. Another great offering in the introductory, accessible introductory set sphere, which I am going to make at the end of the year towards Christmas, probably, towards like the holiday season, when people are gift giving in various cultures all across the world. I think that's when I'm going to do my like master list of 2024's like, hey, if you want to take a chance on a game, or if you and you're like, if you're doing a Yankee swap or a, what is it, what's the other term? Whatchamacallit, a Secret Santa, something like that. Like if you're doing one of those things, this would be a great gaming club's Secret Santa idea. You get like a $50 limit or like a $60 limit, and you just throw together a big like Secret Santa thing of games, and everybody tries games, and the gaming club gets access to like 10 or 20 different games for people to come out and play. That's I'm gonna do a big list of these things, I think. Yeah, and they're like sold out. I got an email this week saying that Renegade Studio had sold out the initial run, so they were doing pre-orders for the next wave. They're getting more printed, and they're super excited about how well this is going. So good job, Hasbro and Renegade Game Studio. I'm super pumped for seeing this on the table and get expanded. Obviously, I have the big Age of Annihilation box set too, so I've got more forces that I can play in here. And I'm going to throw it down on the table soon, so you guys can check it out and see the gameplay. And yeah, see what modern Heroscape looks like. So big thanks for watching, big thanks for Hasbro and Renegade sending this along for me to review. Thanks, Tom Ash. Wargaming.